When I think back on when my anxiety started, I would say I can't remember anxiety. I remember fear. I was just afraid all the time. I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of bad men getting in the house. I was afraid of losing my mom. And so all of my behaviors were tied to that fear of trying to control my situation and trying to feel a little less vulnerable. I remember saying I love you to my mom over and over again when I said goodbye to her because I didn't know if I would see her again. My fear was that my last words to her would always have to be I love you in whatever encounter that we had, because I was afraid that if she didn't know I loved her, maybe she wouldn't come back, or that she would get hurt or something would happen.
What does it feel like to be anxious?
I've tried to describe this to my husband because he's with me when I have these anxiety attacks, and he looks at me and he's like, "You're whole, you're fine, what's going on?" Underneath, I can't understand. It's like I feel like there's bugs under my skin. I just feel jittery, like I can't relax. I could be in the most relaxing place with everything right, but not feel okay because I just feel like something's wrong and I can't put my finger on it. I think I realized that anxiety was the culprit when my mom took me to go see a therapist, and I was very hesitant because that was admitting that something was wrong. And as a teenager, you just want to be the same as everybody else. But when I sat down with the therapist and I told her all of the things that I was going through, she thought that I was suffering from generalized anxiety as well as obsessive compulsive disorder and social anxiety. And that was the biggest thing that was affecting me as a teenager, was my inability to connect with others on a normal level because of my anxieties. From what I've found, I'm one of the few loud voices in a quiet room because people are ashamed of it. And unfortunately, they don't want to talk about it because it makes them look like they're maybe weak. And I guess from what I've endured and through my faith, I've realized that when I'm weak, I'm really strong because God is able to use those weaknesses to speak volumes to the people around me in a voice of compassion and hope. In a world where there's just nothing that I can grab hold of that stays constant, God gives me an anchor. He gives me something that is unmoving, so that when you're anxious, you feel alone. You feel like everything is changing. You feel out of control. And God fills me with a hope that doesn't change, no matter what my circumstances are, that I can cling on to. And that really grounds me, and it helps me know that I can get through this moment because God's love is unchanging. I think that when you're a Christian, you realize that you're broken, and that's okay. You don't have to put on a special face to the world in order to have value, because I already have value in God and Jesus.